Good morning, Guardians. Briar Rabbit here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about yesterday's weekly update. There was a lot of news in that weekly update, and I think if you take everything that was said in that update and put it together, it kind of paints a picture of what the future is for Destiny 1. And maybe the only future for Destiny 1. It may be all we see for Destiny 1 as Bungie works toward releasing Destiny 2. So what is that news? Well, there's really three pieces of content. We're going to talk about them individually, but really they deserve to be talked about in total as a combined piece of news because I think they all relate to each other fairly strongly. So the first thing is there will not be a Crimson Days event this year. Last year during February, we played the Crimson Days event. It was kind of scheduled around Valentine's Day. It was a doubles event, and it had mixed reviews for sure, but I think a lot of people were looking forward to the Crimson Days event this year just to break up the monotony of Destiny, break up the content drought that we're seeing in Destiny. And because the Dawning went over so well, I think a lot of people, me included, were hoping they'd do something similar for Crimson Days, where last year in December we saw the SRL event. This year, we saw the SRL event kind of included in this bigger The Dawning event. A lot of people, including me, were hoping they'd do the same kind of work over for Crimson Days, where Crimson Days would still be there, but it'd be included in some sort of bigger event similar to The Dawning. That's not happening. We're not getting a Crimson Days event. In fact, we're probably not getting anything until the spring. So that's the second piece of news I want to talk about, is that we are going to see another content update. It's coming from the live team, and it's expected to come in spring. Deej actually says that it will come closer to the thaw. So we'll see it in the springtime. That could be related very closely to the April update that we saw last year. However, I wouldn't expect it exactly in April. I would expect it sometime in the spring, whether that's right before E3 or very early in the spring. We don't know. We'll probably get more details on that as it comes. It sounded to me from his language that this is still very much being worked on. So it's not really finalized, A, what's going to be in there, and B, when exactly it's going to ship. The third piece of news that Deej talks about in the weekly update, I think, is really important to Destiny players, especially PvP players. But you can get a lot more context to what he says here by also keeping in mind what he said about the previous pieces of news. So this one has to do with a weapon balance update. The exact release date is to be determined, he says. The full notes on fixes and changes are to be revealed. He doesn't say when we're going to get the weapon balance. With every content update, he says, there seems to be one category of firearms that becomes the favored options for winning a match against fellow Guardians. Obviously, he's talking about shotguns here. And then he quotes the sandbox teams. As we wage wars in our playtest labs, we're taking a lot of things to account. Player data, your feedback, and your own gameplay experiences. We've heard the conversation about and felt ourselves shotgun dominance. Yes, we see you, Matador 64, but we feel strongly that our goal shouldn't be to nerf them into the ground. Instead, we're looking at solutions that could bring shotguns into a better state of balance with the rest of the guns in the game. In doing this, we still want shotguns to be effective and fun to wield. We could quickly and easily break shotguns and call it a day, but it's important to us that we explore positive changes that can make Destiny better for everyone. So this is an interesting quote because he's talking about shotguns specifically in the Matador 64, frankly, that seems to be absolutely dominant in PvP and Destiny right now. So if you enjoy playing PvP and Destiny, maybe you're frustrated by this, maybe you're enjoying the shotgun meta, a lot of people are, but they have their eye on it. The fact that one weapon seems to be so dominant in the Crucible is concerning not only to Destiny players, but apparently to Bungie as well, which is good to hear. However, I think it's concerning that we haven't seen a weapon update in about 136 days at this point, which is craziness. And if you look at the wording of this post, it would indicate that the weapon balance update is coming in the next update. Now, the next update would seem to be the spring update. If we look at what time the spring update was last year, it was in April. So that's a long time to wait for a weapon balance patch. That's from September of 2016 to April 2017. The wording of this post makes me think that they're still working on all this stuff. They're looking at the weapons. They're still inspecting how the Matador feels in the Crucible or its dominance in the Crucible. They're not sure exactly how to handle it. They're still working on the spring update. They're not ready to talk about it yet. They'll be streaming details later. All of these things make me think that there's going to be one big patch in the spring, and that's kind of it until then. We're not going to get the Crimson Days event. We're not going to get an update around that time that maybe a lot of us were hoping for, me included. We're very much going to be waiting for that spring update. So what we have in Destiny is kind of what we're going to have for quite a while at this point. It's January now. April is 4 months away. That's a ways away, and there's no guarantee that the spring update would come in April. It could come in March. It could come in July. We just don't know when it's going to come. Spring is a broad term. It's not necessarily guaranteed to be the same time as last year's April update. So I think this is interesting news, and the way it all kind of relates to each other is interesting as well. No Crimson Days event is a bit of a disappointment. Let's be honest here. Getting a weapon update, though, is very exciting, and the sooner the better on that. So I hope that this isn't locked in with the spring update. I hope that comes sooner than the spring update that he's talking about in this post. And I'm hoping that that spring update is pretty exciting as well. There's been a lot of speculation about, bringing the old raids back, kind of making everything relevant again for Destiny. So over the summertime, every piece of content that's been available for Destiny from day one would be at year 3 power levels, give year 3 power level rewards, whether that be the Vault of Glass or early missions or early strikes, whatever it is, it'd all be available as year 3 power level stuff. And that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if it'd be as good as new content, but it would definitely, I think, satisfy most PvE players until Destiny 2. I think that'd be a lot of fun for content over the summer. Trying to get that Fatebringer back, that Vision of Confluence back, stuff like that would be a lot of fun. But I'm not excited about having to wait until spring for a weapon balance update. The Crucible, to me, right now it's very cut and dry that this is a shotgun meta, right? You can fight the meta. You can use other weapons for sure. But if you want to have success, if you want to play your best, you really need to be running a very decent shotgun at this point. It seems to be absolutely the best weapon in the game. And I'd like to see that addressed for sure. I don't know how they're going to address it. We'll have to wait and see. But I think this was an interesting post. I definitely wanted to point out the relevance of the 3 pieces of information and how they kind of work together to kind of indicate that that spring update is going to be, from the way I see it, what we're looking for at this point. There's not going to be anything, I don't think, as far as content updates go or weapon balance goes until the spring. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.